I want to lay the groundwork here. I am doing a review in this Bryce Tubbs for you guys who have a an accounting business. This guy, I'm sure you know who he is if you try to take your marketing to the next level, which he claims. I made the mistake, and then I want to highlight that word mistake with a double underline and highlight of going to this guy. Um, Here's his YouTube page. I'm sure you guys might have come across this guy. He does the whole dog and pony show, how, typical cookie cutter, landing page, outrageous promises. I did this. I'm an expert in this field. I can help you do this. All you got to do is pay me money. You get into my training program and, you know, do what I say. And miraculously, everybody who's an idiot and has a pulse can be an accounting expert and take their marketing to the next level. Okay, there's a lot more into it than that, but this is what these gurus sell you. You probably guys have maybe got burned by a couple of these guys before, had success, I don't know, but this is an in-depth review of my situation, my year-long dealings with this guy and how he tried to hoodwink me. And I'm going to show you guys proof. I'm going to recount my situation. And it's a big bird finger, this guy and his business. And I hope my opinionated review here of what I actually went through. There's nothing made up here. Certain element of this is my opinion, and I'm entitled to it with this clown, and that's what he is, a clown. So open up your ears here, people, and pay attention if you're thinking about, hiring this turd, because, I didn't have a good experience. So let's get right into it. And I want to basically stress here that a lot of this review is going to be facts based. I'm going to present my facts. I'm going to tell you guys my situation in an inherent, honest, factual way. You know, uh, if defamation exists, it means that you're not telling the truth a lot of the times. So, and a lot of it is going to be based on my opinion, which I'm entitled to. So, my message is for Bryce: be careful who you screw over. Okay, be careful of your business practice because you never know who's going to get good and goddamn pissed off enough where they're going to leave a review like this and go to this step, because I don't normally do this. I don't have better things to do with my day, but this guy, two separate attacks against me, two separate attempts. One of them was a year apart, and I'm recently going through that. So I got annoyed enough where I'm like, okay, I had enough. So here we go, people. So this Bryce Tubbs, virtual accounting strategy. I have bookkeeping business and I'm like, okay, everybody struggles with the marketing. How do we attract new clients? So blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, if you got the money and you want to invest into this, hey, take your business to the next level. So that's what this guy was for. I mean, there's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of other people doing what he does. Be careful. Be careful. So, he's got a flashy YouTube channel, hardly gets any views. I mean, look at these views. They're terrible. I mean, so nobody's really watching this, and he most likely pays for a lot of these views. But, 3 years ago, ooh, we got 1,000 views in this one. Anyway, he offers a coaching program. He offers an online portal where he has training modules. He offers one-on-one consultations. And he makes claims that you could get a six-figure income by just doing what he says. All right, I'm not going to review and plug this guy, his channel. It's garbage, and it's you got to be careful about the fluff. You got to be careful about the fluff. So I hired him, had a conversation with him a couple times, and I was very apprehensive, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't buy into the Kool-Aid he was selling right away. So this is over a year ago, back in probably May of 2024. May of 2024. Okay, so I um, decided, you know what, let's take a chance here. And I kind of did my best due diligence. I really had a good vibe from him. I talked to him on the phone and decided, he has a program that costs 5 grand. I don't know what he jacked the prices up to now. I don't know what it is. And with that, you get access to supposedly his mentorship program, which is, you got modules, you got training, and I'll get into that in a minute, the quality of that. And then you get your consultations and your meeting. And I think there was a Facebook group, I can't remember. And there wasn't many people in it when I enrolled. But anyway, to make a long story short, you get the idea what's going on here. Blah blah blah. Typical inflated cookie cutter landing page, making promises to the moon. Yeah, yeah, everybody can be a six-figure partnership with this guy. Yeah, 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 dear friend and blah 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 blah. You see what's going on here. Whatever this guy did, I don't care. I'm just reviewing his backstory. I don't care what he did. I'm just reviewing his program. So you get the idea. You guys can check out this website um, and judge for yourself. So, and then I had a call with them, and then of course the systematic, like, if you don't sign up on the first call, he's always reaching back out, and they're trying to get you to, he's trying to close you. Okay, fine. So I did. I'm like, you know what? Maybe this will help. Anyway, it's a 30-day money back guarantee with it if you're not happy. Usually they all have that. So, well, with that being said, um, I got in there. I got in his program. I saw firsthand how horrible the modules were. That was my first red flag. They looked like they were so bush leaguely constructed. He talks a mile a minute. You can't even understand him. He's all over the place. I think he needs to be on a pill for ADD. I don't know. There's something going on in his head. He's a salesman at best. That I got that impression. And they were there is some good information. All I really got is the D-list lead generation finder, and just basically I got some good I got one good thing about email lists, like making separate emails so you don't get flagged with Gmail and Hotmail type of accounts, to avoid, getting around the spam filters. Okay, there was some good, but as far as his methods, as far as what he's doing, nothing in there. His templates were outdated. They were bush league. Chat GPT could have done a better job. Um, the calls, I got on a call with him. It was so pathetic. Uh, Felt like I was being rushed off the call. I'm like, I got so many questions, and then just, he's always like, trust me, just stay with the program and do this. And I'm like, but I got all these questions, and he was just all over the place. And I had zero confidence with him after a week and a half of seeing this. I just, you get a red flags, you get one red flag after another, you get a bad vibe, and you go with your gut. And I knew this guy was just not going to produce what he was basically falsely marketing. Okay. So I immediately contacted him and I'm like, just, this, I can tell this just isn't for me. I just, this hasn't been long. Just issue me the refund. It's a 30-day return policy. Oh, here, of course they don't want to do it. Here come the excuses. You haven't been in the program. You haven't given enough chance. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I got in there. I saw the modules. It was so low level. Him just talking in front of, like what I'm doing, basically with a mouse and just, talking a mile a minute and just bush league stuff, just so low level. Okay. Definitely not even close to, putting a 5 grand price tag on it. And his stupid calls, and that's what they are, stupid calls. I had a bunch of them, and they weren't of anything of value. And I knew right away that I was kind of misled here of what this really was. And I didn't know, I didn't want to have any training, and I told him that I'm just strictly coming to you for marketing. I'm not setting up something from scratch. I had my infrastructure set up. I don't want to be trained on bookkeeping, none of this other shit. And that's all it is. That he helps, people think, oh, I can get into bookkeeping, I can do this. And not everybody can. It's a con, okay? Because there is a certain amount of skill with it, and you have to have a certain amount of business skills. You have to know a little about a lot, and then even that is no guarantee. So coming with a guy like this, I went to him for the marketing strategies. It was so low level, and I didn't like it, and I did explore it. It wasn't just something I took a peek and I'm like, no, I'm not going to give it a chance. No, I gave this guy a chance. So he didn't like the fact that I, kind of basically shit on his program. And I told him, look, like you're kind of just misleading people here, what this really is. He didn't like it. So of course, obviously he doesn't want to issue a refund. And we're going back and forth. And I'm not going to get into the threads. I have the Facebook messages back and forth with this guy where posturing after posturing, justification after justification, just refusal to do this. Finally, I got fed up with it. I'm like, look, if this needs to go to the next level, I'm not paying for this, and you are not to charge my credit card. And so he just insisted, and we got to a point where I'm like, all right, I gotta call the credit card company. I gotta put I gotta fill out forms now. I gotta initiate this. I gotta take this to the next level. What a freaking headache. What a freaking headache this guy was. So, it's just like, how far are you willing to push something? So I had to instigate this. And is this the one? Let me see here. So I had to dispute this guy. You take notice the date here, June 25th, 2024. And we are in 2025, June of 2025. So a full year ago, right? So they're investigating it. They're researching the dispute on the card and this and that. We'll let you know. So I had to formally ding this clown. Okay. And then, make a long story short, I had to, wait until they investigated it. They gave me a provisional credit. The whole thing was like he was going to charge 2,500 bucks, and then he was going to charge another 2,500 bucks. All right. So he charged the first round. Right there it is. You can see on 6/14/2024. That's 24. That's very important. It was a year ago. It's June of 2025. Right. Let's just take note of this because he's going to try again a year later. All right. So we are pleased to where is it up here? Our research is complete, and you alerted us about this guy. We have all included a list of all the transactions. So there's the provisional credit right there is final. So that means they ruled in my favor. This guy didn't respond to their inquiries, didn't produce proof, and basically, when a credit card issuer sees this, they rule in your favor. So I got that back, and then he got basically he didn't get that 2,500 bucks, half of the contract, and then basically he's going to hit with chargeback fees and all things. So he lost money from that. Okay, I think he would just let it go. And here's the funny one. Here's the funny one. I'm going to get rid of this. This is a letter I got when I um, initially contacted him with my complaint. And here, actually, I'm going to show you my complaint first. I wrote this clown on 6/24, and I'm not going to just, here's what I wrote him. Some of the stuff I recounted the situation. I'm writing to inform you that I'm terminating your contract up here. My whole thing was false marketing and misleading content, and he didn't make the situation right. Okay, and then I kind of, you know, explain how many times I went back to him. He didn't want to issue the credit, and I think definitely here's one, guys. I think he preys on unsuspecting accounting firms that are brand new. Mine was, and he definitely acted in bad faith, and he has unethically marketing and presenting the program to me in a way that misled me to believing that I was an appropriate client for his services, which I was not. I was not, but I was led to believe I was. So, he could just be like, you know what kind of business wants to just have bad reviews? I mean, if I was him, I'd be like, all right, yeah, fine. Just give me the refund. The guy's not happy and it's not a good fit. Didn't want to do it because he's desperate for money. Anybody like this has desperation in them. Okay. So he couldn't do it. So it had to go to the next level. And literally, the guy didn't know who he was messing with. He doesn't understand. And I've been sued. I had to sue people before. I've been in situations like this. He doesn't realize he's doing it to the wrong person. So anyway, we took it forward to him and blah blah blah. And I sent him this whole thing. Just in closing, I would pay special attention to your tactics to sign new clients in the future to avoid misleading them in a way you have me, and then you're gonna just get more bad reviews. So if needed, I am prepared to enforce this through court of law. I don't want to go down that route. So there it is. So so his and this was funny. I just wiped my rear end with this when I got this. This was a nice little touch, maybe he hired his little lawyer to just, let's scare this guy with a little demand letter. That's the posturing. I laughed at this, and here's his demand letter from this Powers Chapman, whatever. There's a big bird for you, Powers Chapman. I reject all this, and if you want to if you want to go forward with it, keep coming. This is a joke, and everything I get from Powers Chapman will be deposited in the waste bin. Okay, this is a joke. Okay, so this Bryce Tubbs operates under a corporate fitness revolution, and if you look at the guy, he doesn't look like he can run 3 feet around the block. Okay, looks like a fatso. So I don't know where that comes from. So anyway, whatever that is, that's not my real name, by the way. So I am contacting you on behalf of blah blah blah, and he's retained legal counsel. He did no such thing. This is just you maybe paid 100, $200 for a demand letter. Okay. Corporate Fitness Revolution. Apparently that's his LLC. Blah blah blah. Just a bunch of posturing here. You guys can skim this, pause it, and skim it. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's not worth my time. But blah blah blah. They threaten, oh, you owe me the full 5 grand. You signed a contract, but even though I poked holes in the contract, and a contract can be deemed invalid if it's misleading, there's fraud, and there's false pretenses, and all the stuff I outlined. So, Caitlin, whoever this guy is, I guess that's a woman, could be a man, and nowadays, who knows? Um, Bring it. This is a joke. Send me more of this stuff. I'll tear it up and throw it right in the garbage. So this guy is in, just so you know, he's in Troy, Michigan. Troy, Michigan. What an awful state that is too. It's a poor state. I can understand why he probably is just hell bent on collecting any amount he can. Okay, so that should say a lot. So anyway, let's get off of that. So there's the joke of the first attempt. So like I said, so I got my provisional credit. Everything was cool. I told the credit card company to put a block on him. Apparently it didn't go through. Apparently it didn't go through. So let me pause on this for a minute. Let me just pull up the documents for now. Round two, a year later, people. A year later, this bug, this fly on the wall, this little he's not going away. And here's the real slimy element of this guy that prompted me to make this video. Hang on, I'm gonna pause. Oh, here was another one. I forgot this. I found one of the screenshots from my when I attempted to resolve this amicably before it went down that route. And they're like, I went. I went to a point where I'm like, one of his responses is when I wanted him to issue me the credit. Hey, just seeing this, I'm out of town. Yeah, he's out of town. I can pause future payments as a courtesy until you start to get a return, but you have not put in enough work, time, and effort to warranty quitting on yourself. Oh, he's like lecturing me like I'm a school child. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is what they do. If and this is the part that kind of pissed me off right here. Like if you knew what you needed to find success, you would already be successful in this game. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I guess that's you can take that however you want. That's his nice little opinion, okay? Let's stick to the plan. If you can make it, I'd love to see you on the call tomorrow. We can even do another one-on-one. No, at this point I'm like, no, it's not a fit. He's not listening at that point. So I really had to hammer him here. I really had to hammer him. There was another one. Let me just see where it's at. Yep, I found these, and oh, here we go. It's contractually though, you aren't entitled to either a full refund. This is Bryce Tubbs, Tubby, whatever his name is, saying, you're not entitled to either a refund or a stop payment since you have an agreement in place where the deliverables are being upheld. But there is a situation. What kind of deliverables? What was I told? There's a whole other element to this that these clowns think they can hide behind stupid contracts that can be completely invalidated by fault through them. You know, so because you sign a contract with these people doesn't mean it's enforceable. If they failed or they fraudulently misled you or they didn't deliver what was promised, and that's what's going on there. Of course, he's not going to want to hear that. Of course, he's not going to want to do anything about that. So, as far legally, your best option is to just stick and get moving. So yeah, you see what he has to do. So at that point, like, all right, he's not gonna do anything to correct the issue. So I'm like, we're gonna have to go another route. So I wanted to share those who this guy really is back and forth, his private text messages here. And you also see here I have two disputes here. See the one that I just went through? That was closed from 2024. Now I had to open up another one. And look at this. Look at all this crap. This guy's coming at me, attacking me yet again. So let's get into it. What actually prompted this video? Well, he's back a year later. Sneaky bastard tried to do it again. So here he is a year later. I'm here doing bills. I'm doing my thing, and I looked, I'm checking my balances, and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is this charge? Out of the blue, out of the blue, here it is. The enemy is back, and this fucking termite. That's what he is. He's back trying to infect my shit. So here it is again, 1250 and 1250. He's trying to do another $2,500 charge. A year later, the nerve of this dude. Okay, so that's where we're at. So I'm like, all right, got to go through this whole thing again. So immediately, I had to use chat and GPT. I had to send this guy and put together a quick guy. Here we go again. I had to send him another cease and desist. I had to send him another letter. His two email addresses that's all I have on file, and you get the idea what's going on here. So I made this. I had to send this again because I'm just doing it as proof because you need proof that I can issue if I need to take them to court or I need to have show proof to the credit card company. Here it is again on May 27th, 2025, the other week. Tempted to charge unauthorized charges again to my credit card. Two separate charges, $1,250 totaling $2,500. So here we go again. I didn't approve this transaction. It's been reported as fraud again, and I had to make it clear to this stupid credit card issuer that I have that put a permanent block on this asshole. And they're like, okay, we're gonna do it. I thought they did it before, but they didn't do it. So anyway, here it is. I don't want to hear from this guy or no, he is not to charge my card in any fashion. So I kind of warned him. We went down this road last year. He initiated the same thing under false pretenses in 2,500. It was successfully disputed and refunded to me, ruled in my favor. And here we go. I had to recap him due to his misleading marketing, non-delivery of promise of service, and complete lack of professional follow through. It's fraud. Okay, misleading marketing. Okay. Since that determination, I haven't had a relationship with this dude. There's been no communication. Haven't heard with him. I thought this was done. So any further attempt, blah blah blah. It's definitely what he's doing is criminal. Okay. This is attempt to steal from somebody now. Okay. And he's basically it's fraud, unauthorized access, and consumer exploitation. And so here's where he's at. And Bryce, my buddy Bryce, if you're listening to this, you have definitely crossed the line here. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to report you to the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. Okay. The next step is the state attorney general in your state, my state, and then this is criminal at this point, but we'll see where that goes. Okay. And then you see it's not an invitation for dialogue. It's just I'm getting this on record because this is serious stuff now that he's doing. It's serious stuff now. And guess what? I didn't hear back from him. Didn't hear back from him. No response, nothing. Nothing. So I notified my credit card issuer. I had to do the whole dispute form. I had a fax proof. And then here are the fidelity messages from my credit card. Um, there it is. Here it is. Provisional credit again a year later. Now I had to go and fax all my dispute letters, my proof. I had to like get the case ID from last time. This is going to go back in my favor because it's pure fraud. I mean, I shouldn't. So I just faxed all that stuff today and filled out the forms, and I got my provisional credit. This will rule in my favor because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous at this point. So, what's the lesson here? The lesson here is the lesson here. What's the lesson? I think you guys know what the lesson is. Be careful of this turd because he will do anything he can. Once he gets your credit card and you don't like what he's doing and you got an issue, you're going to get attacked here relentlessly. Sorry for the plane. You're going to get attacked by this scumbag. That's all he is. And if you're listening, Bryce, that's what you are, and that's my opinion of you, and I'm entitled to it. You're a slimy scumbag. And if you want to bring it, I'm prepared to go all the way. If you want to keep doing this, come on, Bryce. Keep bringing it. Because somewhere along the line, you should be careful who you mess with. okay? Because some people aren't going to put up with this shit, and they're going to come back at you, and they're going to come back at you even worse, okay? So that is my best advice to you, Bryce. Be ethical, be honest, stop chasing a dollar, stop being desperate, and maybe just go in the mirror and realize you're a fucking jerk off. That would be my best advice. So I will keep you guys posted on the outcome. I already know what the outcome is going to be, but I just want to forewarn you from my opinionated experience that's based on facts and a timeline. It actually happened. And then my opinion that I'm entitled to about this guy, if you won't even call him a man. So be careful. Be careful of these scumbags that pimp this shit. They're programmed. Give me $5,000 to do this. Give me 3,000. I make these. They promise you the moon. Be careful, people. Do your due diligence. I hope this review helps, and I hope my whole goal is to make his future clients, the guys out there and girls who actually have an accounting business, who are looking legitimately to get help with their marketing. Be wary of this guy. Do your due diligence and make your own judgment whether he's right for you. I'm not saying don't hire him. I'm just telling you my experience and my opinion, and I would recommend not hiring him. Okay? So Bryce, on a final note, there's a big bird finger. I'm pointing right at right at my laptop to you. And if you're seeing this, um, you know where I stand. You're a what's the abbreviation? I don't want to get in trouble. And I got to watch for what I say because I could get this video yanked off of YouTube for language or whatever. So you guys know what a piece of means. POS. That's what this guy is. That's what this guy is. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you have any questions, get back to me. I will be more than happy to have a chat about this guy's, in my opinion, unethical business practices.